Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. If you'd like to see more information about this podcast, or if you'd like to see more of my free resources, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com. But for now, I really hope that you enjoy this podcast, and if you do, then I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe on iTunes and leave a positive review so that more people can have the chance to listen to this great work. Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast. And today, before I get into the main episode, I just wanted to take a moment and read a few of the reviews that we've been getting on iTunes, because I really appreciate not only the people who are listening to this podcast, because it's amazing to me how many are already jumping on board, but I also really appreciate it when people take those couple of minutes out of their day to just get on their computer or phone and send us a review, because it really helps so much to get this podcast out there to new listeners who might enjoy it just as much as you. So thank you so much to these people, and I'll read a few of the reviews here. So first we have one from Thomas4711. So he said, "So glad that I stumbled upon this podcast. This is exactly what I was looking for, a well-done podcast to complement my Stoic books. Thank you for doing this service. Great advice and knowledge from the Stoic philosophers." Thank you so much, Thomas. I really appreciate your review, and keep on listening. There'll be plenty more where that came from. And this next one comes from Aaron Olson 82, and he says, "Thank you for providing this excellent podcast. It is a great pleasure to listen to. It has deepened my understanding of and practices of Stoicism." So thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate your review. Thank you, and keep on listening. And the next one comes from Amped Up, and they say, "These are quick podcasts to remind you how to use Stoicism practically. There are useful exercises, and Simon is well-spoken and easy to listen to." That's debatable. His website is great too. Cheers. So thank you so much, Amped Up. I really appreciate your review, and it means a lot to me. So thank you so much to the people who have reviewed so far, and I'll keep on reading out reviews as we get them, because it really just means a lot to me, and you're really helping the podcast to grow. So thank you so much. And without further ado, into the 10th episode. So we often hear people talking about the courage of youth. They say that young people are fearless and that they believe that they're unbreakable until around their mid-20s. It is talked about as a positive disposition at some times and a negative one at others. On the one hand, people argue that youth are more willing to take dangerous and risky chances with their life that can put them and others at risk. And on the other hand, young people take this same courage and use it to pursue their dreams, goals, and desires. So what is it that happens in the mid-20s? Why do most people stop believing in their dreams at this time? Well, it is my belief that this is the time when the world seeks to tame you. So what do I mean by this? Well, the best story that I can draw from is one told by Seneca. In the following story, Seneca talks of two lions being let loose in a gladiator arena, one lion tame and the other wild. He says, quote, "Sending a lion into the arena with his mane gilded, tired by the handling he has been given in the process of being forced to submit to this embellishment, is a very different thing from sending in a wild one with his spirit unbroken, bold in attack, as nature meant him to be, in all his unkempt beauty, a beast whose glory is that none can look on him without fear. He stands higher in people's eyes than the other, docile, gold-leaf-coated creature." End quote. You know, this analogy blew me away the first time I read it, and there are so many ways to dissect this whole passage. But I'd like to start by asking you a simple question. Which lion are you? Are you the gold-leaf, tamed lion, or are you the courageous, wild lion with his spirit unbroken? The reason I ask is because Seneca is not necessarily talking about lions, but rather he is talking about us. He's talking about the millions of people whose spirits have been broken. He's talking about those people who were once free and courageous, but now have been tamed by the world and have lost their true nature. Whenever I talk about this, I think back to my childhood because I come from a small family. I have a brother, a sister, and 2 parents. But if you include my cousins, uncles, and aunties, then I actually have a massive family. I loved growing up on a farm and being around all of my cousins because we would have such a great time exploring and playing games and getting into all sorts of trouble. I remember that every time we would have a big family gathering, the kids would all go outside at night and play Spotlight. And for those of you who don't know this game, I'll tell you the rules. Basically, it's a game to be played outside at nighttime. One person has a torch, or a flashlight for the Americans listening, and the rest of the players have nothing. Everyone runs out into the darkness and hides, while one person with the torch stays and counts to 60. When that person finishes counting, they have to run around and see if they can find anyone. If you get caught by the light of the torch, then you're it. So basically it's like tag at nighttime with a torch. It was so much fun, but something started happening as we all grew up. See, each year as people got older, one by one my cousins or siblings would stop wanting to play Spotlight. For some reason which I couldn't understand, there was an age around the mid-teenage years where my cousins would suddenly decide that it was more fun to sit inside and talk and pretend to be adults than it was to play outside with us. Of course, me and my younger cousins knew better, but it still confused me. We would beg them to play, but still every year the Spotlight squad got smaller and smaller. And I think that this happens to all of us on a much larger scale in life. We start acting like adults, doing what adults are supposed to do, and pursuing what adults are supposed to pursue. If you were to take an honest look over your life, would you agree that at one stage you believed in yourself more and were more courageous? Would you agree that there was a time when you chased after your dreams and went after your goals with all that you had? Was there a time when you believed in the good things in life? Did you ever believe that you were unbreakable and that you could achieve anything if you truly wanted to? Well, if you feel like I'm speaking some truth about your life here, then I'd like to ask you a simple question. What happened? What tamed you? What has led you to believe that you can't have all that you want? Who has made you believe that most people will hurt you? How did you come to think that it is foolish to chase your dreams and to take risks in life? See, there seems to be a time, as I said earlier, around the mid-20s, where we all lose our zest for life, and we are encouraged to grow up. People tell us that we need to find a stable job, stop spending so much time on frivolous things, settle down, and stop taking such big risks. Imagine all the people who could have changed the world if they had decided to not be tamed and to instead live as the person who they were created to be. Imagine how much better this world could be if people decided to keep their childlike zest for life. How would your own life be different if you were still curious, courageous, and passionate? How could your life be better if you had decided to take more risks? What if you focused not on being safe, but on following what makes you happy and excited in life? Isn't it true that the people who have kept this passion for life are the same people who we look up to in society? Imagine if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been tamed when he was young. Imagine how different the world would be if Abraham Lincoln had decided to not strive for a better future. What would the world look like if Gandhi had been tamed in his youth? But even though I'm now discussing these mega figures of history, it's important to realize that you don't have to reach that level of influence to have an incredible impact on the world. Just living as the person who you want to be and striving after your own personal vision is enough to completely change the world for better. I want to ask you to find within yourself that wild, untamed lion that Seneca talks about. Find the youth within you and reignite that fire that once burned, compelling you to move forward toward a better and brighter future. Remember that you were not meant to be mediocre. You were not meant to live a small life. Within you lies the most brilliant potential, and whether you know it or not, you have the ability to live with courage and unbridled passion. I want to encourage you to spend the time reintroducing yourself to that youth that you left behind. As you do, I know that you'll be filled with a vigor and excitement that will carry you forward into your journey, and you'll never look back. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. As always, I really appreciate your support, and look, if you'd like to get in contact with me, please don't hesitate to do so. You can go to my Facebook page, which is Daily Stoic Quotes, or Simon Drew, or you can go to my website, which is risetothegoodlife.com. On my website, there's a contact page, so you can just send me an email via that page. And there's also heaps of free resources on my website and heaps of blog posts that I've written, so feel free to go through them as well. As you may know, on my Facebook page, Daily Stoic Quotes, I try to post a Stoic quote every single day, and I love these quotes, and a lot of other people do as well, so I'm sure that you will as well. But until next time, I hope that you enjoy your life, and I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I really hope that it's valuable to you, and I really hope that it helps you to live a better life. If it has been valuable to you, please don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and leave a positive review. If you'd like to see more free resources, just go to my website. It's risetothegoodlife.com.